positions. So we're trying really hard because we know we got great, excited, energetic volunteers across SME. How do we connect them with the opportunities that we all know are available? So with that, you all play a huge part in developing the bench of volunteer leaders in SAME and really building that pipeline to the senior leadership positions, the vice president, the elected director, president of the society. And we want to, again, make it more transparent to everybody and then build that bench so we have these great opportunities for all of our volunteers. So with that, we've been doing a lot of stuff over the last year, and one thing in particular I wanted to bring to your attention because I hope it'll help you, and then it'll also help us as people come to us and say, hey, I want to get more involved, what can I do? You know, we hope this next avenue will help link them up with you a little bit better. So we're pushing this thing called the Volunteer Job Board, and it's through the SME website now. And what it is, it's an opportunity for all COIs, for RVPs, for national leadership officers to advertise volunteer opportunities for all of our members. So very much like the paid job board, if you have a job opportunity for somebody, this is for volunteers. It's very simple to fill out. It's through the SME website, and it's just an opportunity for you as COI leaders to post on the SME website what opportunities you have. So as people raise their hand and say, I'd like to get more involved, we can connect them with, well, great, you know, the Small Business Council, you know, has, our Small Business COI has this opportunity. You know, the Young Professional Council, or COI, sorry, still getting used to the vernacular, has this opportunity. So I hope it's a helpful thing. I think it's going to be good for our members, but it needs to be full of the active current opportunities that are out there, and we have to manage it well. And that's why I really need your help. So hopefully, if you all think this is a valuable tool, you'll use it and you'll populate our job board with what opportunities you have. Again, it's really simple. You just fill out what COI you represent, what the position is, a general estimate of what time is required for the position, a POC, and then I think really the most important thing is describing in as just transparent details as you can come up with what that position entails for the volunteer. And then what I like to add in there is what value they get out of taking on that position. So again, real simple to do it. You just need to log into your membership profile, and there's a link right on there that says, you know, post a volunteer job opportunity, and it's real simple. I'll take it one step further with the Key Leadership Development Commission. We'd like to help you build the ads. If I know y'all are super busy with your day jobs and your COIs, if you want to reach out to me and we can connect you with someone who can, if you give us the details, we'd be happy to help build your announcements as well. Again, and hopefully this will help bring these willing, excited volunteers to your COIs more readily into the positions that you need. So with that, that's our ask, and that's hopefully good news for you, because hopefully it'll help build out your teams and your COIs. I'd be happy to take any questions or follow up offline if you want to talk more about it. But please help us use this tool. Please help us make it relevant and beneficial, and then we are more than willing to help you get it going and get your ads out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. And I would just add, keep in mind, we do have that all call for volunteers that went out, and there is a little overlap there. So the difference being that you can put a job on the volunteer job board at any time. So, you know, 6 months from now, if something comes up and you didn't need it now, but now you need it, you can put a job up there, and it's just always there for our members to reference. So any questions for Matt?
Just to clarify, you said that we can post on that as the COI chair through our membership account. Is that correct?
That's correct. Really, anybody can post on the volunteer. I already posted one for small business, so thanks for that, those details. But yeah, anybody can post through there. And I think the real value of this is keeping it current, right? Because if this board gets stale or isn't used, then it's really not going to be any use. So hopefully it's a good resource to you, and I think it's going to require that we all just keep it as current as possible.
So one quick question, just so if somebody does reply to the volunteer board but doesn't reply to a survey, what are we doing with that stuff?
Well, yeah, and that's where the POC, I think, is, well, hopefully we'll capture both, because you know, we don't necessarily always have full responses to those surveys. And some of those opportunities on the surveys, I think are a lot more the various ad hoc committees and efforts throughout the year too. So hopefully this will provide more opportunities to reach people, perhaps that don't choose to do the surveys. And then the volunteer job board, I'm going to put whatever POC you want it to go to. So whether it goes straight to the chair or you have someone on your COI that sort of your recruitment person, we can put whatever POC you want so they can reach directly to the right person to get connected. Because that's what we get a lot. As we've been digging into this Key Later thing, we get a lot of people saying, hey, this is great. I'm so glad you're doing this. I want to get more involved. How do I do it? And so to have those opportunities to connect you with a live body that can say, hey, that's great. Let me take your hand here and walk you into this opportunity is, I think, will be really valuable.
Thanks.
Okay, if there are no other questions, if you decide you have a question later on, please feel free to put it in the chat and we'll definitely address it. But moving on, Joe is going to talk to us about operationalizing COIs. Joe, I'm going to put your slide up here in a second and you can speak to that.
Hey, thanks, Kathy. Hey, I'm not going to read this slide to you guys. You can read. And we've been talking about this for a little while. I kind of want to go down to the point I want to make today is if you go down to the last couple of bullets. The first one that says, what are we doing today to help move toward our vision? So what I wanted to make sure everybody here knew is I think I have found the right person to bring in to be our, I'll say it and I mean this in a very, very complimentary way, our Eddie, if you will, of our technical COIs. And I want to thank Belle while I'm at it. Belle's been doing double, triple work along the way with those COIs. And we really need to keep her focused on the whole education program for the society and have somebody who can be the program manager, if you will, for those COIs. So I found the right person, finalizing the details, and then I'll announce the individual. But the individual I found has extensive experience in our industry, in the military, in the Army, in USACE, but especially in the industry and in the nonprofit world in technical COIs. So I think we've got a great way forward there. We're also looking at bringing on some additional help for Eddie with what we call the human capital COIs, so leader development, all that. Those of you who work with Eddie know the amazing work that he does, just like Belle has been doing with the technical COIs. I pray for those two every night that they don't burn out. Thankfully, they haven't. So they're amazing, amazing people. But we're adding the beef to this to help you guys out. So that's the main message today is we're about there. So 1 April, I'll bring this individual on and we'll make all the introductions and go from there. The other thing that's happening is I just signed about $850,000 worth of contracts to completely overhaul our management system. That's everything from our database to our website, you name it. It's gonna be about a year-long effort. The executive committee was kind enough to give us the authority to, if we need to, take the money out of our reserves, which are extremely healthy. And this is a huge investment and well overdue investment for our society. The question then from a COI chair perspective is, so what's the so what for you all? No, we have written in the scope of work, things like each COI needs to have a capability, whether it's for networking, for messaging, for pulling the people, the members of the COI together, and other functions like that you've been asking for. We're just now starting the effort. I just signed the contracts. So kind of to the last bullet, what do we need from you? We need all of you to be aware of both of these initiatives, both the program manager piece within the national office and also the EMS initiative. So as we implement both of these, my ask of all of you is that you keep us posted on what your needs are and stay in tune with us. It's kind of a design build project here. Yeah, we've got the placeholders in the scope, but really putting the pencil to the paper and getting the design right is important. And just so you understand the timing, what we've built into the process is the first 3 months are kind of called the discovery phase. And that's where we're really taking a look at what the procedures are, what design or coding might have to be done, or whatever. And then we get into the implementation phase, which will be through the summer months and basically into the fall. And we've timed it that way intentionally. So by the time we get to the implementation phase, people have a little bit more breathing room to really help out and pay attention to what we're doing. So I want to make sure that all of you are very aware of those two initiatives that we think are foundational for how we really make our COIs hum. Now, let me just give you one example of, in parallel, some of the things that we're doing. So I'm going to use the facility asset management COI as a poster child right now. So as I think some of you know, the efforts of the past 4 years, which got a little bit slowed down last year because of COVID, with Army, Navy, Air Force in particular, led to the formation of a tri-service work group. And I think all of you from a business perspective will appreciate this. We got all 3 services to sign up for, develop a one-to-end list of all of the things with industry input, of all of the procedures and processes that needed to be revised in a manner that all 3 services do it the same way, to make it easier, especially on small businesses, so they don't have to pick and choose which service do I work with, because I don't have the bandwidth to know 3 different ways of doing things. The services are still committed to that, the chiefs as well as the lead SESs. I just had a good conversation, Lisa, by the way, with Greg Kerr the other day, and he's a little frustrated that we lost a little momentum. But here's the point. So we need a program manager in our office to help keep track of what are we trying to achieve, who's doing what are the milestones, what are the resource requirements, and what impact are we having on what we're trying to achieve. In this case, the tri-service work group, as an example. Now let's talk about partners. Right now, as most of you know, another heavy lifter, Kathy Off, who's kind of the keeper of all of our strategic relationships, and there are about 30 of them. We can do better than that. So, for example, let's take the Facility Asset Management COI. Some of the main hitters out there are IFMA, APWA, APPA, and AFE. So, just so you understand that we're moving down the road with some of this. I've already got a commitment from Don Gilpin, who is the CEO of IFMA, that he likes where we're going and what we're doing. And instead of one person in my office managing all the relationships with those 4 organizations and perhaps any other strategic partners will be handled by the steering committee of the FAM COI. And that means this. And Don Gilpin signed up for this. He said, "Hey, I'll be glad to be a part of the steering committee, and I'll bring you all of my members." And just one other little tidbit for all of you, we also have in our scope of work the plan to develop an SME app. How'd you like to be sitting in a meeting? A question comes up on something FAM related, and you click your SME app, you click your FAM COI, you ask your question, and that sends it's networked because of this other piece we're doing, not just to the members in SAME who are part of that COI, but anybody else in the industry, like all of Don Gilpin's members, like all of the APPA members, who, by the way, he said, "Yeah, Joe, I'll be glad to have them come join SAME as virtual members as their second home team." So you kind of get a little bit of the drift of what we're dreaming about, if you will, but that we think is very doable. And here was Don Gilpin's take. He said, "Joe, that's perfect, because I don't know how to network and pull people together and get my expertise out there in a broader way beyond my members. And you guys are experts at networking and relationship building and trust building and getting people connected. So that's perfect. I'll bring you my members and my expertise. You guys help get us connected and help us get pulled into," and I'm going to leave with this thought, get us pulled into, from a national security perspective, those main IGE things that you're working. Okay, so remember, our number one goal in our strategic plan is industry government engagement, and it's not about business development. That's a piece of it. That's a byproduct. But the real focus of IGE is what are the issues that we need to work? And that's a part of what the technical program manager is going to be really focused on, is helping us pull out, should we be focused on mid-sized businesses, project partnering, you know, which of those things which we've done in the last several years should we really be working on? What resources are required? What are the priorities? How about all these webinars? You guys do a great job of helping with the call for presentation process. And since we've started that, we average 3 to 4 really great abstract proposals per time slot. But then we're left with the 3 out of 4 that we don't use. What do we do with those? Bell's done a great job of turning a lot of those into webinars, and you have too, which is a great resource, not just for SAME, not just for our posts, but for others within or even across functional areas. So that's another part of the program management piece. How do we take those resources and that goodness that we have and leverage what makes SAME unique, which is our multidiscipline nature? And that was the other thing that Gilpin keyed on, that where the facility asset management world crosses into other areas like environment, like energy, key areas that affect that, we have the ability to do the cross leveling, like some of the meetings that that Bell has initiated, having different COIs meet at the same time on the technical side. So let me just stop there, because I just wanted to get you guys excited about the initiatives that we have ongoing in both the program management arena within our staff to support you all and to really help you spread the excitement, get the engagement, and most importantly, really get focused, so we know what impact we intend to make and can measure what impact we're having, because that contributes to the overall value that SAME affords our membership, that makes it worthwhile to be a member of this organization. So between the EMS initiative and the program manager initiative, we're all excited about supporting the daylights out of every one of you, and getting Eddie some more help to really help what he's already got going on the human capital side, to further, again, galvanize the effort that all of you are leading to the benefit of, from national security all the way down to just helping out somebody in a post. It all matters. So let me stop there. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to engage, and very shortly I'll be introducing our program manager for the technical COIs. So thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Are there any immediate questions for Joe before we move on to our next agenda item?
Hey, Kathy, I have one. So the question is, and I don't know if we've discussed this before, the new platform, does that allow for a digital content library of all the different webinars and all the different digital content we've created, and then it would be similar in use from a marketing standpoint as well as from a service standpoint? It would be similar to, like, if I went on the New York Times, and I'm not a subscriber to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, I can see 3 or 2 articles or webinars, and then after that I actually have to join. And I don't know if that's built in or not, but we produce such unique content that sometimes has, never expires, some of it, and we don't necessarily have a repository for all that, and we don't use it as a tool where we showcase a handful of stuff for free, and then after that you have to join in order to get
right.
forever.
So Mario, the big answer is yes. The extent to which and all of that, obviously we're going to be designing that and coding that. That's the kind, and thanks for asking that question. That's a great example of the kind of requirements input that we'd love to get from you guys up front. So Mario, thanks. I made a note of that to double check, but that's something that we talked about as we went through this thing. So answer, yes. And that's a key part of us leveraging technology to make SAME the leading edge of how to do the communities of interest stuff, and then just attract people to want to be a part of who we are.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay, hearing no questions, we're going to move on to the next portion of our agenda, which is our COI Marketing and Communication Strategy Program. So Marcy, one of our elected directors, Marcy Snyder, is here to brief us on that. So Marcy, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I am minimizing screens here.
If you like, I can share the screen, Marcy, if you want me to do it. If you
That'd be great. That would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So welcome, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending upon where you are. My name is Marcy Snyder, and as Kathy said, I'm an elected director. And Heather, she reached out to me, and Kathy as well, as this being a special project as an elected director. And it's kind of been interesting because it has really changed a lot due to COVID since we started talking about this. So it's been fun and exciting. But I have to give a couple shout outs to some people that have really been working behind the scenes here. Frankie and Kathy and Stephen, particularly at the national level. And some of the volunteers, Lisa Faley, RSNH, Shay Kelly, and Katie Bialik of Crawford Consulting Services. And also Summer Gladden. She's a great young member. She's part of the leadership development team and also vice chair of communication for the COIs. And Joe connected us with her, and she's been a great asset to this. But I love all of these volunteers and they've been hand selected, honestly, because they're fantastic and reliable SAME post leaders, but also they're professionals in sales and marketing within the AEC industry. So this group, we already have an understanding of what the industry likes to see, and so we're providing our professional skill set to the matrix. So we talked about some of the outcomes and how are we going to market the COIs as a whole. We're very hopeful and optimistic that we will resume face-to-face meetings very soon and continue with the COIs in a new light and expand it. But this is a great opportunity to seize upon the moment and continue to push the expansion of the COIs and expand the true value the communities bring. Out of all 20 COIs, we, as a group, decided to focus on the 2 that needed the most help based on metrics from national. The Facilities Asset Management, or FAM, if you hear it referred to as that way, and the enlisted COIs. And they're the ones, again, that need the most most help. So we also identified a number of resources for the COIs to utilize, including brand awareness, producing additional marketing communications content, and then engaging COI members and retaining current members. So we'll dive more into that a little bit.
So I'm Summer Gladden with Lead Core Services. I'm the marketing and proposal manager over there. As Marcy mentioned, I'm with the Leader Development Program, and my special project is to create a COI communications toolkit. So as part of that project, I reached out to all of you on the call as COI chairs and your vice chairs of communications, if that was information that was on your COI website. And I received feedback from most COIs, at least one representative from all but maybe 2 or 3 COIs. And one of the surprising findings was that half of our leaders don't know about existing resources like the COI Marketing Toolkit National, which underscores and highlights the need for a unified marketing and communication strategy across all COIs. And just to make it easy for you, I dropped the link for the COI Marketing Toolkit into the chat box. Next slide, please, Kathy.
Thanks for that link, Summer. I think there's a lot of really good content in there, and it was really enlightening to see how many people weren't aware of that existing tool that is out there to help them. But moving forward, we identified some of the objectives that we want to focus on. during our pilot project, because again, we only picked 2 COIs to focus on, so that's our pilot, before we have some lessons learned and roll out a complete plan to everyone. But those are the things we have identified. We're going to keep all of these things in mind throughout our endeavor. We don't look at this as a one-off, we're done, and we're going to put the plan on the shelf and never revisit it again. It's going to be live, active, and always ongoing. We have to move with the times, and we have to utilize new technology and additional brain power within our organization. Next slide. So overall, this is the strategy that we will be taking. While we're creating an approach and a call to action, we have worked with the more successful COIs to learn about their secret sauce, if you will, successfully marketing to the COIs. What we learned from them is that it'll include a multi-platform approach, including print, online, social media. I love the app idea, Joe, just to mention a few. And we'll also explore opportunities to integrate activities with strategic partners, such as IFMA, for example. One of the things we're also doing is we're looking at existing messages that have gone out to the COIs and identifying what's not working. Why are we not getting more interest? There have been a lot of good communication efforts by the groups, and it's very much appreciated. But we're going to pull back the onion more and look at things like, what's the methodology of the way in which it was communicated? Was that dead on? Was it accurate? Is the messaging okay? Was the frequency right? You know, what are those things that we're within the target board, but we're not on the bullseye yet. And we're also going to be working on with National on a communications schedule calendar, which will help inform us of how to ensure we don't overburden our members with messaging and lose interest. All about coordination. Next slide.
Okay, this is back from the survey that I sent out. It's just kind of showing how COIs have been communicating currently, a couple times a month, mostly through emails and monthly calls. Next slide. One of the most surprising finds was only about a quarter of our respondents indicated use of any social media platform. So that's going to be an emphasis in the goals as we move forward with this. Next slide, please.
Okay, so some key performance indicators or KPIs that we identified specifically for FAM and the enlisted COIs are listed here. And I mean, honestly, there's nothing out of the ordinary there, to be honest. One thing I do want to point out, though, is that the email performance, that is the average nonprofit email benchmarks in general. So those are, you know, just even some basic foundational goals where we're going to strive to achieve. All right, so we're going to be targeting previous FAM and enlisted members through previous events with the FAM, SBC, military partners, and JETC to try and work on these pilots some more. And also we're going to work with strategic partners to integrate those in as well.
Okay, and so what we envision going forward is a combination of national staff and COI volunteers to execute the marketing plan. We've identified who will be responsible for which marketing tactic, whether it's email, video, social media, bricks and clicks, blog, TME, or white papers, webinars, etc.
Okay, so this is the timeline that the entire team has put together. It is aggressive, but we thought we definitely need a time to work on this pilot, see how it goes, evaluate, modify, and then roll out to the rest of the COIs. So this timeline may shift just a smidge, but our end goal, honestly, is to roll this out in conjunction with SBC in November. Over the summer, we're going to evaluate and modify the plans and then roll out. Okay. Things that we are going to definitely incorporate. We're going to create the work plans for the COIs that support the SAME strategic plan. Again, trying to make sure everything's all woven together and seamless in the messaging and strategy. We'll definitely participate in the quarterly COI chair meetings, such as today, to present and update the marketing plan. We're currently obviously underway with the COI recruitment for the national call for volunteers. And then one of the other things we want to try and do is review the volunteer selection process through a survey and questionnaire. We need leaders who are drivers, and we're all volunteers, and we recognize that. But this is, we also view this as a huge opportunity to get the right people in the right role.
And then we'll unveil the communications toolkit in June to the pilot COI chairs. The idea is that this communications toolkit will go beyond some of the best practices that are provided in the existing marketing toolkit and provide resources like posting and email calendars, social media and email templates for recurring events, strategic partner information, and some resources for creating content. We'll take the pilot COIs using that toolkit for a couple months and refine it based on their feedback before we roll it out to everyone in November.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to wrap up. Stephen, God love him, Stephen Carl, he kept me on track when we were working on all of this, and he said, you know, at some point we just have to say, let's go. And he's absolutely right. And so, but at the same time, we will be incorporating new things as we think of them or come across them to try and make this whole initiative the best thing we possibly can. So, any questions? I see out there that some people want to join the committee, so thank you. I will reach out to you. And also, I'm always available as well, and I'll share my contact information out here.
That's great work, Marcy. Great work.
So Marcy, there was one question from Joe Manis. He said he's following the new process is not clear on the end state. Is the specific task for COIs to establish a particular number of industry and government relationships? That seems fine, but if so, are connections for a particular national outcome, or should the COIs determine a purpose? I guess that's more on the strategic partnership area, Joe. Is that what you're asking about? Yes. Okay. So the specific task is for COIs to become the hub of that particular subsection of our industry. So if that means that we need to be more engaged with IFMA or APWA in relation to FAM, then yes, those relationships should be managed by the COI. The goal is not to get as many strategic partnerships as we can for each COI. We want quality over quantity. So the national outcome would be that somebody who's a member of IFMA would also be a member of SAME. It would be that the government participants that we have don't have to go to 4 different associations to get information on facility management. They only have to come to SAME. Does that help answer your question a little bit, Joe? Yes, okay. Any other questions for Marcy or Summer? Okay, in the interest of time, we're gonna move on. And I just had a couple of housekeeping items that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. I'm not gonna go through them in detail because they were part of the read-aheads. So you should have read them. You should understand what the turnover procedure is for your COI. I know some of you have already completed that process. Some of you are going to be included all together for your national officer who oversees your COIs, and he is going to put the new names forward to the national leadership team and the president for approval. And then for annual work plans, now is the time to start discussing those with your national officer and your staff liaisons. So if you haven't done that yet, please don't wait till the last minute to do that. Are there any questions before we move on to round robin? No, okay. We're going to go ahead and start with the COIs that Belle manages because she's going to get off for another meeting and she was hoping she wouldn't miss that part. So if we could start with architectural practice. Ed, you have
Sorry
anything
about
for us?
that. Really nothing significant for the group. We did actually have a great webinar yesterday from Space Saver about how to reinvent libraries. Probably more focused for the community, but I'll also let the Resilience COI talk a little bit because they've got some webinars which would be applicable to, I think, most everybody in the group. But I'll forfeit my time to everybody else.
Okay, thank you, Ed. How about energy and sustainability? Michelle, were you able to join us? I know you were going to be a little bit late. Okay, hearing nothing, we're going to move on to environmental. Rick, do you have anything for the group?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm making sure I'm unmuted.
We can hear you, but it's very very hard to hear you.
Okay, is that better? Or
You're coming through, Rick, just make sure to speak up.
I am trying that, Charlie. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, we've had a couple of new members in our leadership team that have been really helping out, and that's a good thing. We have a post outreach program. We're identifying people in the COI who want a liaison between the COI and post. It's a two-way street. We actually have people who are also participating with the COIs, the Resilience COI and Energy Sustainability. So I've enjoyed going to Joe Manis's meetings and learning a lot. And we're going to actually try to get a joint webinar going in June after JETSI on climate change and resilience based on a TME article that came out in the environmental issue. So we're moving things along there. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Looks like you're struggling. I apologize for my, okay, well, is that better? Nope. Oh, you got me? Okay, good. So, yeah, so that's where we're at right now. We also finally put a mission statement on our website, and we've had a couple of webinars recently that are also on the website. We've had more attendance at our monthly meetings. I guess my problem is, and I'm loving to hear about a new platform, is I tell people, if you're interested, email me. I know getting more emails, but if we have a forum to reach back to our members in a two-way street, I think that's very powerful to help increase participation and membership. And we're also exploring, there's talk of an interagency PFAS team at the federal level, and we're seeing how maybe Sammy can get a place at the table, part of our IGE mission. So we've been busy, and hope to see some of you folks in person soon.
Thank you, Rick. All right, Lisa, do you have anything for facility management?
Yeah, hi. So we finally have some good momentum on the facility asset management community of interest has been very much kind of reconstituting. We have most of the seats on the steering committee filled. Still have one or two needing to fill, but we've got the monthly calls going. We decided that our primary focus needed to be on the facility management workshop this summer and making that successful. So we've been working on the call for presentations, which is imminent, and Belle has done a great job of kind of pulling together all of the inputs and getting that ready to publish. The one thing I'd like to kind of entreat and maybe reaching out to some of you folks, we are trying to figure out the liaison piece And do we have a liaison to every single other COI, or is it only selective? And so I would welcome any input from the other chairs on how they approach liaisons to other committees, whether it's kind of a dual role of someone in the on the steering committee, or the leadership, or what approach they take. So.
Thank you, Lisa. And those of you who I know have liaisons, please feel free to reach out to Lisa separately. Thank you. Okay, moving on. How about Resilience COI? Joe or Al or anyone else from Resilience COI, if you have anything, let us know.
Joe Manius here. I'll do my best. We've had a number of successes with webinars. We had one in mid-February on wildfires that work out in the West, and the subsequent disastrous events that occur. We have one on cyber that's scheduled on Comply to Connect on the 30th of March. A guy named Dean Hollings is talking about that. It's unfortunate Michelle's not online, but we've been supporting an effort by Energy Sustainability on Daniel, a guy named Daniel Shepard's going to be talking on the 8th of April. We're also looking at some pandemic assurance work, and probably not going to be until April, but that's really continuity of operations. We don't think from the military side, mission assurance. We don't think more on the civilian side. We have somebody from FEMA helping us put that together. And I meant to say that the resilient facility controls was the one from Searle that I jumped over. We have putting together an idea looking at infrastructure security, sort of a follow-up on the things that happened on the 6th of January. We found that interesting, storm the Capitol. Well, what are we looking at as we move forward with GSA, DOD, FEMA, all of the facilities in terms of infrastructure? Most of our infrastructure security since 9/11 have been more blast oriented, and this was a new threat in a way, is lots of individuals. So we're thinking by midsummer we should have some ideas to share on that topic. The working very hard on some intergovernmental engagements. We had a meeting with energy sustainability and environmental, and I can't remember one other COI here about 2 weeks ago, looking at the work that we're working on now. Albert Romano's been leading this, and how we're trying to connect with various entities, whether they're private or governmental, and establish better working relationships. And we thought that it would be useful to bring the other COIs together as we did that. Sounds like national, you guys have got something else working that maybe we ought to back off and let y'all go for it. But that's what we have been focusing as where we needed to go. I'm disappointed, I won't say we, that our level of post outreach has not been greater. So we're as part of our work plan moving forward, we're going to target 4 to 5 specific posts where we're going to try to make better engagements with the information we have available. One of the things we recently did is on our website, we have a list of contacts within FEMA, and this of course is nationwide, at least CONUS. And if you're looking for somebody for a speaker, you can go there and you can link up at the federal level, but from there you can drill down to the state and local level. But there's one thing to have information on the website, including a lot of past webinars, briefings that people have used, as well as points of contacts. The real challenge is getting the post to, as part of their program development, to figure out that, yes, we were looking for a speaker, and we'll go to the SME website to try to find it. Bricks and Bits and TME, those are all great. We will continue to advertise through those, but I'm not sure the osmosis is as great as what we would like for it to be. And it may require us to change direction and have more one-on-one contact. Our steering committee has people that are trying to do that, but getting a hold of people and making it sink in is a bit of a challenge. Looking forward to partnering with the other COIs so that it's not 8 different efforts moving forward, but a single effort, or at least breaking it up into groups and saying we have these opportunities. that's moving forward, and I think we're doing pretty well. Cyber is continues to be a challenge as we look at where we want to be. We had a discussion in our monthly meeting about how to better break that apart as we move into the work plan for 2021, 22. And that would be to look at it as both one is communications, and certainly the pandemic has helped us address that issue or be aware of it. And we have a new approach to that in government and outside. The second is information sharing, whether you're talking about a SharePoint, Google Docs, or whatever it is. And a lot of your big firms, your AEComs and WSBs have their own platforms they use. But what is it that we should be advocating, or what about the cybersecurity associated with that? I know within DoD, we have our own challenges with 1970s technology with 2021 cyber on top of it. Almost it's like trying to move a rock up a hill to use it. And then the last is the control systems. Getting back to hard infrastructure, how do we engage in this? Because these things are all related. We want the flexibility, but how do we engage? And we're trying to continue to work with the DoD community on their cybersecurity, but it's all classified. They don't want to talk to us a lot of the time. But that just takes us to continue to chip away. I believe that I should stop at that point, but I'll ask Albert, who's our incoming chair, if there's anything that I missed that you want to mention.
Thank you, Joe. You covered quite a bit, and a couple of small things to add to that. One is an additional focus for us going forward is what we call the technical advisory group, which is really building a portfolio of experts in resilience across SAME and other parts of the organization that we can make available to engage with the IGE element for any kind of technical or policy type of support that may be needed with that engagement. So that's something that certainly anyone on this call that maybe can help us with that. We are looking to build a database, for lack of a better term, of those experts that we can make available, and would be interested in participating in such discussions, particularly in the resilience area. The other thing is to expand a little bit on what Joe mentioned about the strategic partnerships and relationships. We actually went through a deliberate process to develop what we're calling kind of parameters of what are the things that we're looking for in a partnership with external entities that would fit with the resilience mission of the COI. And with that, we identified organizations, both at the public sector and private sector level, that would be of interest or perhaps could have an alliance with those parameters that we identified. And we used that process to break it down into some of the, we'll call it tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 being those that meet that parameters as best as we can determine at this point. And then tier 2 being ones that we think we can have some relationships with, but we're not quite sure yet in terms of how well they fit with those parameters. And we broke out those into 4 subgroups, and we have individuals in our COI leadership that are working with me in this case and Joe to identify the contacts with those agencies and those entities to further the discussions about alliance. And last but not least, we also identified the whys. Why is it important for us and them to collaborate? So we have a list of kind of the benefits statements of what makes sense for this collaboration to occur. So we have a good message to convey to those potential partners and how we can do this. And we're engaging, of course, the other COIs, the COIs as Joe mentioned. Just a little bit more information. If anybody's interested in working with us on this or would like to learn more, we'd be happy to work with you on that front. So thank you, Joe. Back to you.
That's all for us.
Thank you. That was a great comprehensive summary and update. So thank you very much. Keeping in line with our IGE related COIs, one that I didn't have on the list, and I apologize for this, is our health engineering task force. So Alyssa, if you're on, can you give the group an update on what the task force is doing right now?
Hi, thank you. Thanks for letting me brief. So right now we are still planning out the rest of our year. We do have a webinar planned for April. It is entitled Health Systems Resilience, we have our monthly meetings. We will be having a meeting tomorrow. We'll have an opening remark by Rear Admiral Deezer. And so the format of our meetings of our quarters are monthly meetings, and the last month of the quarter will be a webinar. However, this month we had a cancellation of our original webinar topic. And so we are moving a new topic over in April, which again is the health systems resilience. For the remaining of the year, I actually have a calm plan that I want to share, and I thought it'd be easy for me to do. I don't know if Kathy, are you able to make me a presenter on your end? I just wanted to show the calendar and what our plans are for the quarter for the year. Okay. I probably should have emailed my slides to you. Okay, you're the presenter. Okay, so let me just share my screen real quick. Okay, can you see my screen there?
Not yet.
Okay, how about now?
Not yet.
Oh, God. Okay, let me try it one more time. Start broadcast, 2, 1, and blast off. Okay.
Now it's good.
Okay, let me know if you are seeing. I'm hoping you'll see. Okay, perfect.
Now we see your.
Okay, here it is. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
Yeah, just wanted to share my our milestones with you. So the first row, you'll see our monthly meetings. We're trying to get ahead of it, to be honest, to set up the rest of our webinars. The next row, you see strategic communications. We do have a schedule as far as sending in TME articles, perhaps. We are trying to set up 2 roundtables. I don't know if you can see that. It's very small for the year. Probably in the summertime, early summer and late summer. The topics will, oh gosh. Okay, so the topics will be one for taking a look at the UFC for corrosion control hangars and ensuring that we are meeting the OSHA requirements. We're going to start reaching out to other COIs like the architects and the facility asset management group. And then a second roundtable, probably a much bigger one on the pandemic response and preparedness. I did hear the Resilient COI just refund what they're also doing. So that tells me that I need to be coordinating with you just so that we're not double tapping on these types of topics. We're looking at a roundtable. I think yours is a webinar, so more to come on that. And then at the bottom, you'll see some of the actions that we are taking as the co-chairs. We're still conducting a task force study, and what I really want to do is be able to provide some sort of report to the board of direction to really take a look at what we're doing, what we contribute, and then hopefully we can become our own COI. We know that there's still work. We've been doing this for quite a while now, but we're still hard at it if you give us that opportunity to keep working at it. So I'm going to move on to my next slide. And just as a reminder, what we think we are and how we contribute to SAEME, I'm going to try to zoom in on this a little bit. We kind of converge where health meets the AEC communities. So we look at trying to collaborate with our partners in industry, government, military, and other professional organizations, as well as with our COIs, architect, environmental, facility asset management, resilience, and JACO. Towards the bottom here, these are just some of the topics that we work on in our day jobs, to be honest. And I think you might notice that it might overlap with some of the other COIs. However, we're really focused on the human aspect, and maybe you are too, but things like exposures, whether it is in the workplace or at home, and in the environment and in the community at large. So I mentioned that we are putting together webinars for the remaining of the calendar year. What we're looking at and what we've done was we've tapped into other folks, and you'll notice the font in orange. We have, I'm going to kind of zoom in on that also. We put out some requests for webinars on these topics here. So geospatial data with respect to occupational and environmental health data, and then some indoor air quality, including radon, industrial ventilation, and then some radiation topics as well. And so that's pretty much what our plan is going forward. I just wanted to provide you this update and show you this table here, or this diagram here. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thanks, Elisa. I think it would be great to send those to Kathy, and then have her send those out to all the COI chairs so that they may see how there's some overlap.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Alyssa. So we have somebody that needs to leave, so I'm going to let the enlisted COI go next. Amanda, are you still with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Go right ahead.
I'm fairly well prepared to. Can you hear me?
You're coming in pretty broken. I don't know if it's the connection being way up in Alaska.
Our signal. Let me see if I can run up real quick. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, that's better.
Perfect. Well, it's a -2 degrees out here, so I will not stay on long. But good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Our enlisted COI is really focusing our efforts on preparing veterans to transition for the AEC industry. So we're really excited to take that on and really own it. And we're going to be working really hard over the next couple of months to develop some plans and ideas that we have to help veterans transition. And we're really excited about it. We are hopeful that JETC will be a real kickoff platform for us, as a lot of enlisted attend that event, especially as a virtual opportunity. So I will stand by for any questions, and then I have to run to another meeting. Sorry.
Thanks, Amanda. Okay, if there's no questions, we're going to go on to small business COI. Mario?
Well, unlike Amanda, it's about a positive 75, maybe 80 degrees here. So I can go on forever, but I won't. I'm going to hit on just 3 top things. One is I was actually supposed to be moving off here, transitioning from small business COI chair, but did such a great job of recruiting a chair-elect that she's now tapped for president-elect of SAME. So wish Cindy well on that. So I've got an open position for a small business COI chair-elect. I'll stay on for another year, and we'll get somebody in the wings here. That's probably the biggest thing on that front as far as leadership. Obviously, we are gearing up now. Sally Clark is leading our exhibitor advisory council again, and they're kicking into full gear to prepare for JETC. And then we're all waiting to hear what the government decides to do, whether or not there's an in-person or a virtual small business conference in November. And then probably the third largest topic that we have is we're going to be piloting or starting a new newsletter approach where we've actually outsourced newsletter content creation, and we're going to see how that goes to create newsletters on a monthly basis versus on a quarterly basis. And beyond that, things are rocking and rolling. So active vice chairs, and they will also be filling chair elects. And a shout out to Matt for doing a great job on putting up a volunteer board position for the small business COI. That's all I got.
Thanks, Mario. All right, international COI. Sharice?
Good evening, everyone. I just have a couple of things. Doesn't look like my camera's working, but I'm sitting in for Chris Knudsen this evening. He wasn't able to make it. We do have our programs slated all the way through September. What we're doing is alternating master's classes with IGEs. It's been really successful. Our attendance is way, 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 way up. I mean, it's common for us to get over 100 attendees on our webinars, which is great. And we really love the new big marker platform. It's very professional. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. We have Michelle here from Energy and Sustainability. Michelle, do you want to tell us about what your COI is doing?
Yeah, sorry, I'm like literally triple booked. So I have like so much going on. So I apologize. So our COI, we are holding monthly meetings, which is a good change. We're actively working on getting webinars scheduled for after JTC. We do have an upcoming webinar scheduled for April 8th with the Army Corps, specifically to address cybersecurity and the 250511 spec. There's been a lot of confusion on that, so that announcement will be going out shortly. And I have chat with the vice chair as part of our succession planning that he would become the chair-elect, and he agreed to do that. So Charlie, I think I'll need to work with you on just doing that, but I am on for another year. But we are actively filling positions. And I guess the last update is if everyone knows Paul Robinson, who's the one of the chiefs over at the Army Corps and Huntsville Center, he's going to be retiring soon, and he came on to our leadership team to help with a public sector lead for our COI. So we're very excited to have him join. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move over to our human capital COIs. So we're going to start with college outreach. Anne, do you have anything to share with us?
Hello. We are working on our focus is JETSI right now and encouraging student members to register and participate in JETSI. So we're working with the young professionals to do some of that and create some awesome events that will be part of JETSI and some other things that we're still working on, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about next time. That's it from me.
Great, thank you. Joe, Angel, and Cindy, what can you tell us about camps right now?
Good day, everyone. Joe Angel here with Wiley Wilson, Camp COI Chair until JETSI-ish. Look forward to transitioning and continuing to work with Cindy as she takes over. A couple of things. First off, want to, again, thank Eddie for his dedicated support to our COI. He's just a rock star, and all of you know that. But we really appreciate all Eddie does for us. Obviously, a lot of challenges due to COVID with our camps. We already have 2 camps that have shifted to virtual. That would be our Navy camp in Port Hueneme and the Air Force Academy camp. The other 3 main camps, Marine Corps camp, Army camp, Scott Air Force Base camp, are still pushing ahead, hoping against hope that we'll be able to do some in-person camps this summer. Decision points are coming up. Applications are coming in, and we're just excited to get back at it and spend some time with the nation's future. Camp leadership, our COI leadership, is constant, stable, growing. That's a good thing. All of our camp directors are remaining in place. Obviously, as with any of our COIs, we need new staff, we need new volunteers, we need new leaders. So anyone interested, we are taking names and assigning big jobs. So look forward to what comes forward in the next couple of months and years. New camps, we had some great discussions going on for some new camps. Obviously, COVID has slowed that down a bunch, but we're still in discussions with staff at Camp Pendleton, Virginia Tech, Tampa, San Antonio, and others that, once we get past all this mess, hopefully there'll be interest in establishing some new camps. New partnerships, very excited this year to have formally established our relationship with the Army junior ROTC. We are now sending out our application information, camp information to nearly 500,000 high school kids around the country, and that's exciting. Eddie worked really hard to get us in relationships with some teachers and STEM organizations, again, to share not only the application process for our campers, but also for adult leadership that are interested in coming out and spending a week at some of our camps. We need staff, we need leaders, we need volunteers always, and money is always a good thing, as many of you know. Our camps are expensive. We're trying to keep the costs low, but anytime we can get a donation, we can get a volunteer donation, we can get a cash donation, you know, that ups our game and allows us to do some new and innovative things. Obviously, very excited about our continued partnership with the foundation and other nonprofit groups that see fit to contribute to what we do in the Camp COI. It's been a real honor to lead the Camp COI these last 3 years. And as I said, I look forward to continuing to support Cindy Miller as she takes over. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Cindy.
Cindy, you're on mute. Oh, there
Thank you, Joe. Yes, you big shoes to fill. So I didn't have anything to add. I'm sorry. I do have a, yeah, I think it's my internet. That's sorry. So big shoes to fill. Thanks, Joe. I do have a question on the JETSI for student members. Is there a cost for student members to attend the virtual JETSI?
Hi, Cindy. There's no cost for student members to attend our national events. So we'll be marketing both JETSI and ideally SBC as well to our student members, but there is no registration fee.
Thanks. Okay, moving on. How about leader development? Caroline.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So just a quick recap of what we've done over the past few months. We've pushed out resources on mentoring across the society, as well as the potential for posts to use scalable resources to develop their own leader development program. So that could be a full-blown program. In the case of Seattle, we've taken baby steps and we're doing a leader series, which is just a series of talks over the past few months. So all of those resources are online, as well as the video recordings of them if you'd like to go back and watch them, get in on some of the discussion. Moving forward, next month, we have Ms. Jen Campbell, who is our National Leader Development Program Facilitator, who's going to be speaking to our COI on how to increase your leadership capacity. So obviously we all know and love Jen. She's very professional, retired Navy, and looking forward to that if you want to join us over there. The other thing for this group that I think is maybe pertinent is our April meeting. We're going to do an SAME 101. So some of the feedback that we've gotten from our leader development participants is that they don't necessarily understand all the ins and outs of SAME. So, you know, things from the COI to just how do you log in online and get into your account, you know, how do you do all these things? How do you get involved in a COI? Where do you actually physically check that box? So Colonel Patrick Hodgeboom has recruited Colonel Ed Chamberlain, and those two are spearheading this effort. We've also mentioned it to Matt Altman, because I see a little bit of similarities with the Key Leadership Commission, and of course his effort with the volunteer board. I think they all kind of go hand in hand, but just getting the word out and an SAME 101. So that's our April program. May, we canceled our monthly meeting due to JETC. However, we will have a whole panel there. We're looking forward to that. And as our group, our COI was selecting abstracts for JETC, we noticed that, first of all, we had some amazing high quality speakers, but there was some overlap in topics. So I don't know if the other COIs had that experience or not, but our plan is, clearly we picked one for JETC, but then to reach out to those individuals who were not selected due to just a redundancy of topic and see if they'll come speak to the COI on that topic in the future. Our June program is where our LDP participants, we plan to invite them if they choose to accept and present kind of a 30-second, few minutes overview of their projects to the society. So I think that's pretty exciting just to get the word out on, all the things that those individuals have produced for the society and give the society an opportunity to, first of all, thank them, but, maybe encourage them to dream bigger and see where maybe a future LDP participant could pick up the project and carry it to the next level. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions or suggestions that you guys have for me.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay, how about Victoria? You want to tell us about young professionals?
Kathy, quick question. This is Albert. Sorry, I was trying to catch you for Caroline.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Caroline, will you be recording the session for the 101, the SMU 101 by any chance?
Of course, yes, sir.
Would you mind sharing that with some of us so we can make it available to others as well?
Absolutely, and the presentation materials as well. I'm happy to share it all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks,
Eddie,
yeah.
I want to make sure that we get that LDP SAME 101 April program emailed out to all YPs, because we've tried to do something like that in the past, and I definitely think that that would be something that all young professionals across the society would be extraordinarily interested in learning. So thank you, Caroline, for you guys putting that together. If we can just kind of, extend that invite to all YPs.
Definitely coordinate. Yeah, thanks, Victoria.
Awesome. So not a whole lot going on with young professionals. We are gearing up for JETC. We have several events planned with the college outreach student groups. We want to make sure that we engage with them and kind of help them to make the most out of JETC. So there's some early conversations going on, or early events going on. Additionally, we're doing what we did before with a small business conference, where it's small networking groups prior to the conference to kind of start getting the momentum and to help people, again, make the most out of the conference as a whole. We're also working with the fellows group to do another virtual networking with young professionals and fellows. So that information will be coming out. If you are a fellow and you are on this call, there is going to be a call for some volunteers and assistants. So please keep your eyes out for that. If you're able to help, we would love to have you participate and work with the young professionals to help them, again, make the most of the conference and just have some fun and get to know each other as well. I have proposed Corey Weaver as the incoming chair. He has been lockstep with me over this past year, just kind of behind the scenes a lot. He has such a great knowledge, and he knows exactly how a lot of the national organization is run and things that go on, and he has a lot of great connections. He had to step away due to work, so now last year I begged him to come back, and he decided to come back and serve on the YP COI. So I'm really excited to present him and to get him back re-engaged as I take a step away from young professional COIs in May. I don't have any other updates. Neil, do you have anything that I may have been missing?
Just simply, I was a little late to this call because I caught the first part of that one with your team. They're doing great. Credentialing is folded up under them, and they're starting to work on a framework there. And I was really excited to hear what Suzanne was proposing for the pre-JETC virtual activities. You guys are using a great deal of imagination and innovation, and I'm really proud of what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Thank you. You did mention, I forgot to mention the credentialing thing. That is a really exciting plan and program, and that is something that even as I step down as chair, I'm going to help see through and make sure that it has a successful foundation and framework to continue on. We are really excited to be leading that effort, and we are going to be looking to all the COIs to contribute and to engage with us as well. If there's anything the YP COI can help you guys out with, please feel free to reach out. We're always wanting to engage with other COIs, especially when it comes to webinars. We have a webinar coming up that's Space Force, and you know, every COI is doing some great information and putting out. So I really am glad that we have one email that shows all the educational opportunities. That is incredible. I think that's really valuable for all young professionals. So again, if there's anything we can do to collaborate with any of you, please let us know. We love working with other people. We love bringing the energy of the young professionals to your COI. So thank you.
Thanks, Victoria. All right, K through 12. I know, Liza, you're here. Liza Gruden?
I am here. I guess I should do a quick sound check, make sure everybody can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm currently the Vice Chair for Strategic Alliances, but I'm also going to be the incoming chair come May for our COI. We have 2 calls set up, or we have calls monthly. In March, we're going to have the FAA come in and talk about their STEM outreach. And then in April, we have Tom Jenkins. He's an Ohio State STEM Teacher of the Year finalist, and we're going to have him come in. He's actually also our Vice Chair, Josh Graham's middle school teacher. So Josh is going to lead the call on April because it coincides with one of our other important standing meetings. So what we try and do during our calls is kind of provide low-hanging fruit, you know, to our members of how they can engage, you know, with STEM outreach. There's so many different opportunities out there, and I think sometimes it's overwhelming for people, or they don't want to go through, you know, a lot of challenges to try and find an opportunity. So if we can provide those easily and say, hey, you know, we need a judge for a science fair, we need, you know, someone to sit on this meeting and give us feedback, you know, so that's what we try and go over during our calls. We also do our CME articles for the STEM Corner. We're consistent with those. I did notice as the incoming chair, I'll be looking at several different things. And one of the things is attendance on our calls. I think we're at 5% attendance on our monthly calls. So, you know, the social media and the KLDC would probably help with that. And we're also trying to engage with the post-STEM POCs, identify them, and then bring them into our monthly calls and get them engaging a little bit. So I was really happy to hear about, you know, especially the social media platform. And I think the KLDC can help us fill out our steering committee. We're relatively new COI, so, you know, COVID has lasted half as long as our COI has lasted. So I think that in-person contact and being able to go to conferences and really engage people will come a long way to, you know, getting our attendance up. So that's all I have for my first meeting. If anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you, Liza. All right, I just want to check. Is there anybody here from the Joint Engineer Contingency Operations COI? I know Jim didn't look like Jim was here. Okay, it doesn't look like we have anybody from JCO. They are currently working on a warfighter seminar that will be at JATC and probably the primary focus for the chiefs to attend. They're still hashing out the details of that, but it should be a pretty awesome workshop or seminar. So we'll make sure we share that information as it comes available. Membership. Mike, do you want to share anything with the group?
Yeah, sure. Kathy, can you see and hear me?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, yeah, real quick. Good afternoon, everybody. Membership's next COI call is next Wednesday, March 18th. Like a lot of COIs, we've got some challenges with maintaining the momentum with a couple of our subcommittees. But the groups are doing a good job of staying engaged. It'll be interesting to see where we pivot as we reset our work plan to support post-membership chairs and the nationals initiatives. The steering committee is working with Jill, our liaison, on our upcoming newsletter, several webinars we've got planned, primarily tools focused, best practice focused, just to keep aiding and assisting our membership POCs and chairs. So we'll be communicating those out as they get finalized. Our diversity inclusion working group is progressing toward their stated goal of providing recommendations to the spring board. These were based on the outline that they provided at the fall board. And also several of those members also got 2 D&I related abstracts approved for JETSI. So they're excited about that. We're very pleased to see that additional engagement from the DI working group. And that's all I had. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Mike. All right, moving on, we have National Officer. Oh, well, first, let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't think I did, but okay. All right, moving on to National Officer comments. Charlie, Charlie and Neil, would you like to say anything? We'll start with Charlie. Or maybe we'll start with Neil.
Okay, I just have a couple things for the group. First, you know, over the last couple of months, I've had my COIs talk about how they're going to transition leadership. And so, Lisa, glad that you're on this one, and Cindy, same. So I've now got it to where I know how to do it. Going to send a formal letter to Heather with copied all the folks involved that 4 of the 6 COIs that I oversee are changing. Here's outgoing, here's incoming, and here's kind of how we see things happening. And of course, we've moved credentialing underneath of young professionals. So I'll comment on that. On a larger scale of turnover, Bob Keyser and I will be completing our term as vice presidents this year. I've had some initial conversations with Mark Handley about how he transitions the oversight roles of the national leadership team to the incoming vice presidents, and then how that will in turn translate out into the things he wants to do with all of you as COI chairs. So look for some things to be coming out in the next few months about how he's going to want to share his views, his guidance on COIs as he assumes the presidency from Heather. So those are the couple things I had, and obviously it feeds into Charlie and Bob. So thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Charlie, are you there? Charlie Parham. Okay, he must have dropped or something. So thank you all for being on. I would just add to one thing that Neil said about transitioning. Please make sure that when you transition that you pass on all this great information that you're getting on these types of calls and information you get at board meetings and via email and everything that we send you. Please make sure you pass that on to your incoming chairs and set them up for success. So,
Kathy, I think we need to give Bob Keyser a shout out if he's here.
Oh,
no, we don't. I got nothing to add. We're good.
Okay, thanks, Bob. All right, any other questions? Okay, Joe, do you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, get these buttons working. Yeah, no, I just want to say thanks again to everybody, and thanks again to our national leaders for their great leadership. So took some great notes today, and whatever other help you need, we're here. So keep doing great things. We're doing great work. Thanks.
Thanks all. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.